Today on Locked On Canadiens, we've already tried to start this show twice, but Jeff Blashill kept challenging it.
You are Locked On Canadiens, your daily podcast on the Montreal Canadiens. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Canadiens. I want to thank you all for making us your first listen of the day and for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. It's thanks to all of you, and we're so grateful. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. My name is Laura Saba, also known as the Active Stick, and I'm joined, as always, by my wonderful co-host, Ian Boisvert, also known as Maybe It's Ian. Ian, the Canadiens scored maybe like 15 different goals, and only 4 of them counted.
They're finding more creative ways to take goals away from Brendan Gallagher. Like, goalie interference wasn't even in the equation in this game, and they were still like, nope, we're going to Zapruder film the blue line, and we're going to review it on our little tiny tablets and be able to see the pixels where the puck was not. It's whatever. Matt Duchene, this is all your fault. I think the funniest way this ends is the Dallas Stars are in the Stanley Cup final, and Matt Duchene scores a goal to tie the game in Game 7 late, and it gets called back because the puck was offside by a millimeter. I think it's the funniest way for this to end.
I feel like was this 10 years ago, like the debate? I just remember like the discourse just being crazy. Yeah. Anyways, I don't want to dwell on that because the Montreal Canadiens shellacked the Chicago Blackhawks. I will go so far as to say that Jakub Dobes was good but not great.
Yeah.
But he didn't face very many shots, and the Montreal Canadiens were supremely dominant in that game.
Yeah, Money Puck has the expected goals at 4.83 for the Canadiens and 2.2 for the Blackhawks. So effectively, Dobes stole one.
Yeah.
Which is great. But I found that he was shaky, but the Canadiens just weren't giving up a lot, so it didn't matter. Especially in that second period, like pucks were bouncing off of him. There was one where he made a glove save and he thought he had it, so he kind of like did the statue thing that goalies do, but the puck had bounced away. It felt very reminiscent of the game we were at against Toronto, where he didn't have his fastball, as Marty would say. But in the end, it didn't matter because the team in front of him played so well. And you hope enough of those builds up courage in the goaltending, which I know you're going to talk about later this week or next week with a friend of the show.
Yes.
But you hope that that builds up enough goodwill with your goaltending that they go, yeah, even if I make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. They play a little bit looser. They play a little bit better.
Yes. And I know it's a little bit late in the game, but I forgot to tease the rest of the show. So we are going to talk a little bit about a couple of heroes in that game who played really well. And then we have part of our mailbag. And I do want to say that we asked for lots of mailbag questions for a reason. Because of the holidays, we're not going to be able to work next week for many of the days, but we still want to give you episodes. So some of the questions which are a little bit less timely are going to be moved to next week. So next week, you get a Boxing Day full mailbag and some other fun content. We're going to have a goalie-themed episode with an actual literal goalie coach coming on Monday. And then the rest of the week is still up in the air. And that's also the reason why trivia is going on a very short hiatus just for next week. And it'll be back the week after Christmas. Just because we don't know where we're going to put the episodes, depending on a lot of things in both of our lives right now.
Yeah,
so
it wouldn't make a lot of sense. You guys would be we'd be asking you questions and then giving the wrong answers on certain days. So it'll be back. We promise.
Yeah. It's just because our episodes are going to be out of order. But let's get back to the game. I think that I do want to say that I was very nervous when I heard that Mike Matheson was still out. And we're going to talk a little bit later in this show about Lane Hutson really, really stepping up to the plate. But I feel like the team as a whole looked at what they did against Philadelphia and they weren't happy. And they decided to take control of the game from the Chicago Blackhawks and not relinquish it.
Yeah. And I thought it could have gotten especially hairy just in that Montreal effectively got scored on the first shot twice.
Yes.
The first one was called back. And I didn't understand. A lot of people were saying like, oh, the contact on that was outside the crease. It very wasn't. Dobes' skate was in the crease and Mikheyev's skate came through it and took his out. I also, just really quickly, what happened to goalie interference penalties? You slew-footed a goalie. Like, that should be a penalty. I don't know why that And that's not it's just about this game. That's just in general. Those penalties have disappeared. But it could have gotten really bad because Montreal gives up the next goal, and it didn't really feel like Chicago had manufactured all that much. But Montreal was able to get back. They scored before the period ended. I mean, they almost tripled the Blackhawks in shots by the end of the game. It was pretty effective from the Canadiens.
I'm not gonna lie, towards the end of the game, I was just watching that shot clock, just willing it to get to 39, and then the Blackhawks had another shot, and I was like, well, now I can't do the math.
Well, nevertheless.
Well, nevertheless. I just didn't think the Canadiens were gonna get to 42 shots. See, I can do math.
Yeah, there you go. That's my thing. What are you doing?
Without you next week, so I have to make up. I'm going to be doing math on my vacation with my family. We'll have Christmas dinner, and they'll say, why are you doing math? All right, back to the game. I think that Noah Dobson had a strong game. I also think that Owen Beck had a strong game. I felt really bad that he wasn't the one who scored. He's already got one called back, and he looked so happy after that. And then it went to Noah Dobson. I was just a little bit bummed for him. But I think that as time goes on, I feel like it has been a very slow build for Owen Beck. But I feel like he looks at home as an NHLer the last couple of games.
Yeah, I think so too. I know one of the things Frankie Corrado called out on the broadcast was since he's been called up from Laval this time around, he's over 60% on his draws. If you want to be the fourth line center for the Montreal Canadiens, you got to be able to do that. And he's doing really great. And what's great about the way that they've built that is even if he can kind of cheat on his draws a little bit because he knows Joe Veleno's right next to me. That guy's pretty good at winning faceoffs. So, that I think that's been a big part of his game. But he also he seems more engaged just about everywhere on the ice. I found it funny. The game was in garbage time. It was after the empty net goal, and he lays out a guy in the corner. I was like, bro, what are you doing? Arbor Xhekaj did the same thing. I was like, the Canadiens are playing to the buzzer in this one, which I always appreciate. I've liked Beck. And I think we all kind of, I was watching the game. My wife was like, that was Beck's first. I feel like he's been around forever. And he has, but not in the sense that he's played a lot of games. It's just he's been up and down. He played that one emergency call-up game way back when he got called up from the Peterborough Petes to play in the National Hockey League. So it's definitely been a slow build for him, like you said.
Yeah. Speaking of fourth liners, I also think Joe Veleno has had a strong couple of games. Man, he made some moves in this game. I was like, wow, defensive moves. Yeah. I was wondering who that was on the ice, to be honest.
Yeah, I think we're at a point where people are starting to eat a little bit of crow on him. He might end up being the new Dvorak, and that he is way more useful than anybody gives him credit for. And by the end of the year, we are all going to be saying sorry to Joe Veleno.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are not there yet, but I don't want to focus just on the fourth liners. But I feel like we were talking about something that wasn't necessarily a positive, in our group chat, and it was about the commitment of the veterans. And we were worried about the younger players learning the wrong habits. And I feel like it was specifically around defending the goal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And we saw it on the one goal that Chicago scored in this game. Struble follows his man up the boards, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But it leaves Frank Nazar wide open in front of the net. And Juraj Slafkovsky picks him up late. And a lot of the goals that get scored against the Canadiens, and we'll talk about the defense coach and I guess that system by proxy later on, but a lot of the goals that get scored against Montreal are like that, where the forwards have to pick up a man down low and they're not able to make that connection. It's what makes guys like Jake Evans so effective because he constantly is able to pick up that man down low. That's a teachable thing. So I'm not here to this is a red alert. The Canadiens can't make this happen. I think that they'll eventually all get to a point where this doesn't happen as often. But right now, that's the way you beat this team, is by somehow pulling a defender away from the net, knowing full well that the Canadiens forwards, especially the younger ones, might not have a great time covering whoever they need to in front of the net.
Absolutely. And again, I don't want to dwell too much on the negatives because I feel like this was a very positive game. So in our next segment, we're going to single out a couple of players and talk about what great games they had. We're going to single out actually 3 or 4 players, but we want to focus on 2 of them. That's coming up in just one moment here on Locked On Canadiens. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when the great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. You just pull up the app, and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. Pick a game, tap a section, and have your tickets locked within minutes. There's no confusion and no hunting for fine print. The seat view feature is a game changer. You literally see what the pitch looks like and your exact seat before you buy. And prices include fees up front, which I love. No last-second surprises at checkout. We've used Game Time a lot on the show for hockey games. Now you can use it to get World Cup tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets in every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Game Time. Thank you for making Locked On Canadiens your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Canadiens with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more. All for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedoncanadiens.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. All right. Ian, I've done a lot of talking, but there were 2 players that I really wanted to talk about today, and those were Lane Hutson and obviously Zach Bolduc. But I also want to talk about Nick Suzuki and Juraj Slafkovsky as well in this segment, because I felt like they all had really, really great games.
Yeah, I agree. I want to start with Bolduc. He's the story. I wrote in my notes before he scored the goal that it seemed like he was more engaged in the way that the Canadiens want him to be engaged. He was really effective down low. He was really effective on the boards. That's why they have him in that spot, is to sort of do some of the things that Juraj Slafkovsky does well. And when that line doesn't do well, we often go, that's a spot where Juraj would have helped. In this one, that essentially set up his goal. He gets in down low on the forecheck, forces a turnover, and then he allows the skill players on his line. He's also a skill player, but we know who we're talking about there. He allows his skill players to play with the puck. He finds himself some open ice in the slot where he scores almost all of his goals from, and he banged one in. And I hope that is evidence of, I hope that's positive reinforcement for him, that if I play this way, I can still be an offensive player. Because I think a lot of times players think that's a trade-off as well. If I'm down low, crashing and banging, I'm not going to be the one scoring goals. It's not true, especially playing with 2 really talented players. So I really like that. And I liked on his second goal, where is he? His big butt's right in front of the net. And he makes incredible deflection through his legs. He lifts his skate up in the air, like deflects it top shelf. Really impressive deflection. A lot of times pucks just hit you. That one didn't just hit him. Like he put himself in the position to make that happen. So I really liked his game. I'm really, really hoping that this is not a one-off, because we've seen this a couple times from Bolduc now. But it was nice for him to finally get one at home and then add another one later. You knew once he got one, the dam was going to break.
Yeah. And I think, with players that are that young, you're talking about this being a one-off. I feel like we are going to see a little bit more of that, where it's like sometimes on and sometimes off. We saw it with Slav. I'm not comparing the 2 in terms of like actual skill level. I'm just saying, like, there will be a point where he'll get more consistent, and we might not see it every night, but we'll see it more nights than we are now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Lane Hutson stepping up in the absence of Mike Matheson. I think he played like 100 minutes.
Yeah, at least. I think he played that much in the first period. This Lane Hutson didn't have any points when the Canadiens were blown out by the Tampa Bay Lightning. After that game, he had 2 against Pittsburgh, 2 against the Rangers, 2 against Edmonton. none against the Flyers, and then 3 assists against the Chicago Blackhawks on Thursday night. The dude is just finding points. And a lot of them are secondary, but there's everyone kind of thumbs their nose at a secondary assist now. But I think the way that he plays, the secondary assist is valuable because oftentimes it's him doing some kind of scooting at the blue line. It's him moving up and down, trying to find something. He's definitely not just picking a secondary assist merchant. That's not what he is. I said it when they played the Rangers, and it's been sort of the same since then. He's on some video game mode right now. I don't understand fully how, what happened and why he was able to flip a switch, but it just seems like something, maybe his he's gotten a green light from the coaching staff to just be even more Lane Hutson than usual. This one goes to 11, so to speak. He turned it to 11. I think it's been really nice to see. And they showed a graphic. He's like among the top defensemen in the league in assists in the calendar year of 2025. I think he's tied with Evan Bouchard. It's kind of incredible for a dude who's in his second full NHL season.
Yes, absolutely. And we haven't even talked yet about how good he was defensively.
Yeah. And this is the thing, right? Guy I just mentioned, Evan Bouchard, not so much. And he's much bigger than Lane Hutson. What I always come back to with Lane Hutson is he's been small his whole life. He learned to defend while being small.
Mm-hmm.
That has not stopped him. Yes, he takes a couple hits. He took a couple in this one against Chicago that I wasn't a big fan of. But he always gets up. And again, sometimes he cedes body position in order to make a better play. He'll let you get in on the puck first so he can get underneath you and swipe it away. I think a lot of people read like Corey Pronman's his scouting report of him in his draft year that said he might struggle defensively, and that was when they made up their mind about this player, and they haven't watched a ton of him since. You are depriving yourself by not watching Lane Hutson play hockey. First of all, you should be doing that. He's one of the stars in this league, but also it's just frankly not true that this kid can't defend.
Yeah. He's just so good. He's so good in his second year. Like, imagine him in year 5.
I still just, in my life of watching the Canadiens, there have not been a ton of players that I watch and just giggle while they have the puck. Lane Hutson's one of them. Every time he has the puck, he's doing something fun. Ivan Demidov, he hasn't scored, picked up, I think, a point in this game. But he's the same thing, same kind of genres of player. Every time, I think Arpon Basu posted in the middle of the game, 3 or 4 times a game, he just looks like a glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Like and I completely agree. He just kind of breaks the game.
So good. So unbelievably good. All right, we got 2 more guys to talk about real quick. Nick Suzuki, Juraj Slafkovsky. Those are the guys I said, right?
Yes. I thought Suzuki was great. I would like to see Suzuki on the power play start to shoot on some of those cross seam passes he gets from Demidov. He seems to really want to be able to take that puck. And oftentimes he kind of catches it down low and then moves back up high to open something back up through the middle of the ice. But at some point, they're going to stop treating him as a shooting threat if he doesn't actually shoot the puck.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to see him shoot those more. But I think that line, when Zachary Bolduc is going, that line can still be very, very good. I thought Cole Caulfield also quietly had a very, very good game for the Canadiens.
I felt like Cole Caulfield had the best looks.
Yeah.
He had the best looks.
He had a couple early. I think, again, on the power play, the Canadiens don't really have a one-timer option. I don't know why they don't have Cole Caulfield out there hammering one-timers. I feel like he could do it. But whatever. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah. And Juraj Slafkovsky, just throwing the body.
Yeah. He looks real great with guys hanging all over him, which is something I really wasn't expecting to see from him because, the Canadiens have drafted big players, big forwards in my lifetime, and none of them have played like this. None of them have sort of, put their arm out, hold their stick with one hand and just kind of work the puck down low and still seemingly find a passing lane somewhere or make a drive to the net. With every passing game, you see what the Canadiens were looking at in his draft year.
Yeah.
Because, Shane Wright, great player. He'll have a great NHL career. Logan Cooley, the same. None of them can do that.
No.
Like that, like Logan Cooley's small. He's not doing that. Shane Wright is 6 foot, but he ain't doing that.
No.
Like that's why he was so valuable and why he will be valuable for the Canadiens for a long time.
What I look at when I see Juraj Slafkovsky, when I look at that, I go like that is a force of nature, right? Like
Yeah,
force of nature.
Yeah,
right?
he's a man.
Yes.
Dude. Like
He's a dude.
yeah. You know,
He's a dude with skills.
Yeah, like I don't like kicking a dude out of town, or he's already left. But Jesperi Kotkaniemi, he was never going to be a player like that.
But they drafted him in the hopes that he would.
Yes.
Yes.
Michael McCarron was never going to be like that because he didn't have the skill to also go along with the size, and he truthfully never wanted to really use his size in Montreal.
Yeah.
Slafkovsky is the full package. He wants to use all of it all of the time.
Yes. I love it. He wants to get in your face. All right. We've got some mailbag questions coming up right up next. We're not going to make you wait too long for them. This episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in a real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, and every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment with live spreads and money lines that adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. And I can tell you live betting is really a game changer for me on an NFL Sunday. It really brings me closer to the action. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your live NFL bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. All right, it's time for our mailbag questions. Can I get started with a defense question first?
Let's do it.
All right. So this comes to us from our good friend Richard the Architect, who we haven't heard from in a while, but he's been in touch with us on Instagram. He's alive. He's fine. He's still a good friend of the show. And his question is, the Montreal Canadiens hire a new defensive coach. Thoughts? Question mark.
I don't know if it changes much because I think at the core of this question is a question of the system that the Canadiens play defensively, which is a hybrid system, which I know a lot of people don't quite understand. I'm not really an X's and O's guy, but it's not an overly complicated concept. Essentially, when the puck is up high in the zone, so it's near the blue line or closer to the blue line, you're playing man. When the puck gets down low, you're sort of playing something that resembles a zone defense, but it's mostly you're trying to look for opportunities to create odd man situations. You have a guy pinned on the boards. It's a 1v1. You're going to send another guy, the closest guy, into that pile to create an odd man situation so you come away with the puck. That's why the Canadiens talk so much about their defense wanting to kill plays. Yeah. They have to kill plays to get going. I think Marty said this a few years ago at this point now. The point of defending is to stop defending, right? So that's why this system exists.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you explained the hybrid defense in that way because I get asked about it a lot and I'm just like, I don't know, watch it. It'll become clear, right? Yeah. So I think that's pretty clear. But I feel like Richard is getting at something though, is that like at what point does the players failing to execute this become the defensive coach's problem? Or who's making the decision overall? Like there's the defense coach that's running the defense, but who has the final word on what system they play overall?
I think it's Marty. I think Marty owns that. And Marty has said as much, with the whole, like, what if these guys can't play it? And his thing is, if you can't play the system, you probably don't belong in this league, which is true. Like, this is a system that most successful teams in the National Hockey League are using. Because it's supposed to do, as I've described, it's supposed to kill plays so that you can get going offensively. I don't know what changing coaches on defense would do. I think Stefan Robida is responsible for helping these guys sort of learn the skills of playing defense, learn the sort of ticky-tacky things that he picked up over his NHL career. How to use body positioning in front of the net to clear the way for your goalie. Like that's just an example that I kind of made up. But like, think of it that way. But I think the systems, that's Marty. And execution of the systems is up to the players and Marty.
Yeah.
So I understand when things break in hockey, everyone points a finger at some coach, whether it's Marty, goaltending bad, Eric Raymond, defense bad, this guy. What does Trevor Letowski do? I don't know what he does, except look like Mike Matheson behind the bench. I think
terrifying sometimes how alike they look.
It's uncanny. I like Trevor Letowski. I hope he gets a head coaching gig sometime soon. Although hopefully not too soon because I want him in Montreal.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion. I know a lot of people are very opinionated about the coaching staff and what have you, but I think that this is living as long as Marty is around.
Yeah. And for me, like my answer to that is it's the players who aren't executing, right? Like I don't think Eric Raymond is the goalie coach in Laval right now. Monty had a rough night. We're not going to get into that because I have a special episode with an actual goalie coach coming up. Sometime next week, we're going to figure it out. It's going to be there. I promise. And all right. So we had another question we wanted to do before we got into the holiday questions. And now I don't even know what, oh yes, I do. I do remember what it is. I am so sorry. Give me just 1 second. And the question is, this comes from 36 Reinbacher on Blue Sky. With the emergence of Engstrom, when is Struble being traded?
Maybe before Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, he played one shift in the third period, and I think it was a shift where he tried to go out up the middle of the ice and immediately turn the puck over.
Yeah.
He was doing it all night. His first shift of the game, he laid out Tyler Bertuzzi, and I was like, all right, here we go, Struble. Yeah. And then that was it. That was the high water mark for him for the game. I'm concerned that that maybe Lane Hutson made him look passable for a very long time. And I just think Engstrom's looked great. Engstrom has looked like he deserves more opportunity. I think Engstrom is going to get that. It's just a matter of time, and we'll see how long that takes. But if it was up to me, I'm looking for another option right now because it ain't Struble.
Yeah. And it could be, he could be gone as part of a package before the roster freeze. All right. So we've got some fun holiday themed mailbag questions. And one of them involves homework. So I'm going to leave that until the end. And the other one comes from your lovely wife. She actually gave us a few options for the Christmas mailbag question. And now I have lost it. I literally...
I'm going to go get her.
You're like, let me go wake up my wife 1 second. What were mailbag questions? There were 3 of them. Can you remember what they were?
No.
All right. And I know what just happened. I had saved it and I had screenshotted it, and then I deleted the screenshot because I thought we'd already done it. All right. So if you could attend one Habs holiday party, and we can include Marty and Kent in this, which one would you attend and why?
Who's throwing the best holiday party?
Yeah.
I'm going to go off the board here. I think Alex Carrier puts on a very nice, classy holiday party.
I think so too.
I think he's got some chill vibe. There's a fireplace going. There's a nice cheese board at his party. Something's homemade, at least one thing, which for hockey players, it's kind of be tough to come by.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Alex Carrier.
I like it. I'm going to go like in a different direction, in a very opposite direction. I'm going to go to Cole Caulfield's holiday party. Because it's just like, it's literally just a bunch of candy and everyone is just like hopped up on sugar. So like everyone is just like in a good and energetic mood.
Yeah. I feel like him or Lane Hutson, like their families are just, Midwestern. You're probably eating some of the wildest stuff you've ever seen in your entire life. It's
got like 7 different kinds of candy and mayonnaise, and it's called a salad.
Yes, exactly. There's pieces of meat floating in Jell-O. You're like, okay, cool, man. I don't know how you guys are hockey players.
I don't know how you guys are adults.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 30 years old and there's Pokemon cards at my desk, so I'm not gonna. Those in glass houses, Laura.
All right, and then finally, we have a question from our good friend Adam Yu. And the question is, so we had to pick 5 gifts, right? And the game is, One of us says the gift, the other person has to guess who the player is, and we have the choice of like, is it receiving the gift or giving the gift? So, for example, like a pogo stick. Like if I say pogo stick received, then Ian would presumably answer Cole Caulfield, right?
Yeah,
And then
that
Ian
was
would
going
get
to
the
be my
point.
guess. So I think I understand the game.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to go first or shall I go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
This player is going to receive an Easton 4900 aluminum stick. I feel
Oh,
like this
that
is
is
a tandem.
absolutely Mike Matheson.
I feel like he would have a really hard time breaking it, but also I kind of just want to see if he can do it.
Awesome. All right. So this player is giving the gift of a grill.
A grill. They're giving a grill.
Yeah, like a gas grill that you put on the balcony or in your backyard.
Arbor Jacki, is he giving somebody a grill? That seems like a Jacki behavior.
It is. It does. But my guess, my guy was Josh Anderson.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I see that. Yeah, dude. Yeah, for sure. He's grilling all the time. He's like, you guys need grills. I understand that.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Next.
My next one. Someone is giving this player resistance bands. You know, like the
Resistance
exercise
band.
equipment, the stretchy rubber bands.
Is it Struble?
It's not. It's Sam Montembeault, and they're bungeeing him to the middle post of his net.
That's so good. All right, I went off the board with this one. This is a gift that this player comes to your house and gives you, and the gift is a paint by number set.
Oh, just getting a paint by number set. Somebody who like likes order and following the rules. Maybe Lane Hutson is giving you a paint, like he's always showing up to practice early. That seems like something he would do.
No, but I did go with the defense, and you kind of got close when you said like he's the dinner party you would go to. Like I feel like Alex
Yeah.
Carey gives like a nice and classy, calming
Yeah.
gift like that.
Yeah, for sure. I understand. He shops in the Williams Sonoma catalog 1,000%.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
See? Yeah. Okay. Yours.
Someone is giving this player a PR representative.
Ooh, Brendan Gallagher.
I was thinking about going in that way. I'm going Joe Veleno because this guy needs some positive press. Everyone's dumping on this dude. We need to get a good PR junket going for this player because he's playing very good.
Like 5 games in a row.
Yeah.
All right. This player will give you as a gift 30 tubs of whey protein.
This seems like Arbor Jacki.
No, close.
Really?
It's Jaden Struble.
It's Struble. Struble is also massive.
Yeah.
They're just huge.
How did we get that way?
Yeah.
With whey protein.
It's a shame they can't play on the same pair.
I know, right?
And that they weren't both like they're never good at the same time.
Yeah.
So like that's never gonna work.
Imagine them as like your effective third pair. Like it would be like a wall skating around the ice.
Yeah, we would just be recreating Ben Sherratt and Joel Edmondson in the aggregate. Like, that's all we would be doing.
All right, your turn.
This player is going to give all of his teammates new GPS systems.
New GPS. Oh, is it Dobes?
It's not Dobes. It's Oliver Kapanen, so that they can all find their way to the front of the net where he is.
I love it. Yours are so good. Mine are so capitalist. Yours are like well thought out.
That's what we try to do.
Yeah. This player receives a Nerf gun.
He receives a Nerf gun.
Yeah. Like I honestly picture this player having like a whole room full of Nerf guns at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got Cole Caulfield. It's got to be. I see him just running around with like those huge ones that like they have like the chains of Nerf ammo.
Yes.
If you walk around his house, you are stepping on a Nerf bullet or a Lego somewhere.
Yes, absolutely. Or an Uncrustable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's excellent. All right, my last one. This player is giving all of his teammates artisanal toques.
Artisanal toques. Ooh, is it like Patrick Laine because of the fashion?
It's Patty. I saw they showed the press box during the game, and he's still there, and he's wearing a toque inside because that's what he does. And I was just like, I miss you, man.
Yeah,
get well soon, Patty.
He and his wife go to almost every game. Like I think he goes to every game, and his wife like literally goes to all the Habs games when she's in town. They're very much a fabric of the city now.
Yeah.
My last one is like really, really out there. And so this is kind of based on the fact that somebody claimed that this person was really good at things that you're not expecting them to be good at. Somebody's given him like one of those DIY 3D like miniature, like how people are like making like little storefronts and little, so I put DIY 3D book nook.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Where like
Yeah.
they go in a bookshelf and it's like
Yeah.
an alleyway. Yeah, I know
Yes.
what you're talking about.
Yes.
Jake Evans?
It's not Jake Evans.
I feel like Jake Evans knows how to play the piano and we just don't know that.
Yeah. If you know Jake Evans, tell us, does he know how to play the piano? My guy was Brendan Gallagher, because on
Really?
the That's Offside podcast, Nick Suzuki said that Brendan Gallagher was surprisingly good at a lot of stuff and it was annoying, which people say that about Nick Suzuki, that like he's really good at a lot of stuff and it's annoying. So I
Yeah.
feel like if Nick Suzuki is saying that about you, then you must be like really secretly savant at a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I also find the Gallagher evolution, he was not like this at the beginning of his career.
No.
The beginning of his career,
He was a meathead.
He was pounding energy drinks before games. Like that was just the mentality, the attitude that he had.
Yeah.
And now he's very much like, I
He's a
have to
dad.
take my nap at this time and have my dinner. And like he just seems like he's very regimented at this point.
Yeah. He gets made fun of for his fashion, but apparently his wife is working on that. So
just in time for them they just repealed all of the like you have to wear a suit to the game rules.
Yeah.
So figure it out.
All right. We are running out of time. So all of the mailbag questions that you asked, they're going to be in a mailbag episode next week. I just can't tell you which day yet because a lot of stuff has to align. I'll be out of town next week. Ian will be in town, but he has a lot of stuff going on. So we will definitely be posting at least 3 episodes next week. So please stay tuned for that. But we have to do our trivia first. It is our last trivia before the Monday, the 29th episode.
Yes, let's go over yesterday's question. Juraj Slafkovsky is currently 25th all-time in NHL scoring by a Slovakian-born player. Which 2 former Habs are ahead of him on that list? And one person got this right, but also Laura got this right as soon as the show ended.
Yeah.
Laura, who were the guys?
I even said like at the end of the show, I was like, I can't wait to stop recording so I can guess. It was Richard Zednik and Thomas Tatar.
It was. So Slafkovsky is 25th with 131 points. Dickie Z is at 379, and Thomas Tatar is at 496. Slafkovsky is the highest active Slovakian-born player on that points list. Looking at that list, he's got a tall task ahead of him to be at the top of it at the end of his career, but he'll be pretty high up there.
Yeah. I'm very excited. All right. So as we said, we will be back next week. We know we're going to have a goalie themed episode. We know there's going to be like a recap and preview of the next week, recap and forecast. We know there's going to be a holiday mailbag. So all the mailbag questions you asked, they will be answered in an episode next week. We're just not 100% sure yet, but it's all going to figure itself out by Sunday. So make sure you are tuned in and that you are signed up to listen, following us. Okay. Let me start all of that again. Thank you for tuning in today to Locked On Canadiens. As we said, next week we're going to have a bunch of holiday content. Make sure you subscribe and you follow Locked On Canadiens so you get all the latest episodes. And if you need a last-minute holiday gift or someone keeps asking what you want, make it easy. Ask for the Everydayer Club. Add free episodes of this show, exclusive Discord server access, and more. Subscriptions can be gifted through lockedoncanadiens.supercast.com. You can also find us all over social media. You can email us at lockedoncanadiens@gmail.com. You can find us on TikTok, on Instagram, on Blue Sky at LockedOnCanadiens. Communicate with us there. In fact, we got most of our mailbag questions there. So we love interacting with you on those platforms. And for those of you who are watching us on video, we're going to send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. And if you're on audio, you make sure that your second listen is NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL. We want to thank everyone for listening. We will be back next week, but we are going to take the opportunity to wish you happy holidays and hope that you get some well-earned time with your loved ones. And we will definitely be back next week. So make sure you stay tuned.